What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 28th, 2024. This was very much a post-CitizenCon week with nearly no content. Happy Halloween, by the way. But we had quite a bit going on in regards to patches, and CIG caused some serious outrage on the forums. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Stop by and say hello if you haven't yet. We have been doing some really cool stuff on stream with my org and everything since CitizenCon's got me excited. But before we get into the video, I'm excited to share with you today's sponsor. So I recently found that I was being charged every month for multiple apps, subscriptions, and services that I rarely ever or don't use at all. Well, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. I'm using Rocket Money to cancel those unwanted subscriptions. It's actually really neat. You either use the app to let you know how to cancel it yourself, or you give them a little personal information and they will actually cancel it on your behalf if one of them is giving you maybe the runaround or something. I'm also using Rocket Money to help set budgets and make sure I'm not spending needlessly, like a bunch of replacement PC parts when I only needed one. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when they use all the app's premium features, with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. To save more and spend less, join over the 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/SaltEMike or click the link in the description to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. That's once again, rocketmoney.com/SaltEMike to get started for free. And as always, thanks for supporting the sponsors as they help take these videos to the next level. But we do have a bit to check out this week, so let's get into those patch notes. All right, and this week, let's start out with 3.24.2 stability. The theme for the game the entire week, well, has been instability. The live servers have been an actual disaster, and you know what? You kind of get what you deserve, CIG. Another rushed out patch for another ship sale, completely undermining the conversations around the game being such a priority at CitizenCon when, you know, the actions speak for themselves here, really, right? You know, I do like the fact that they're iterating on, like, we're going from 3.24 to .1 to .2 to .3 with little bits of content in those, right? I think we'll probably get to that 1.0 or a better experience faster, but you can't release because you want to sell the Zeus, right? You gotta focus on having it at least be playable before doing these quick iterations. So, you know, they wanted to get the Zeus out before CitizenCon because they were selling other ships, and now your entire player base is suffering. It's a little bit disappointing. They did hot fixes all week. None of them really worked. And yeah, but yeah, just nothing has really quite delivered a live experience worth mentioning, I would say, right? Even at the Star Citizen standard. I basically had a 20-minute server recovery on live this weekend. It was not good, right? And then we had a 3.24.3 PTU. I think the update really has nothing to do with improving the current live experience based on what we saw with the 3.24.2 stuff. I think it was Jake or Waka. I'm not sure who stated it. So correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me in the comments. But they made a comment of, you know, this initial 3.24.3 PTU will not have IAE stuff in it, but eventually it will. So ships and the convention center and things like that. So this is the IAE patch. This is the patch where they sell the Polaris. This is, you know, that means that there is a date for this patch to go out, no matter its state, right? There were some changes, graphics settings, things still around that full screen and borderless issues that they've been dealing with, but also some painful bugs fixes that likely could not have been resolved with hot fixes for 3.24.2. But just like 3.24.2, again, I'm getting the vibes that this thing has a date, that we're going through the normal CIG stuff where marketing decides when a patch goes out, not the development team. And yep, I didn't even bother to log in because this one felt pretty meaningless to me. I don't want to test for a ship sale. I want to test for the game. 4.0 weekend Evo test. Speaking of testing for the game, they tried a test on Friday, and I actually fell asleep waiting for it. It came out really late. Word was it was super unstable. Then Saturday, they gave it another go. Patch notes were the same for both, and I still had some instability issues, but these tests are open. They said that there was going to be no NDA footage on the one right before CitizenCon. It's been no NDA footage at all throughout Evo. I'm not sure why. I think there's very little content in the builds that we're playing, and it's essentially a stability test, so I don't know why they want to show stability tests. Please do me a favor. Leave a comment down below. Do streamers playing 4.0 hype you up when you see it in the state that it's in, right? I'm not really sure if this is like an effective marketing tool. I mean, CIG would know, right? But I'm just curious what you guys think, because I'm looking at it as most people are probably trying to avoid spoilers. Other people just think that streamers are doing this for content. I'll get into that in just a minute. But let's talk about what was in there. I started with asteroid bases. I was really disappointed with these. Anything labeled RAB, and there are a ton of these, are a 100% from a dust mite in the place. An exact copy. That is not a good thing to see. I mean, like down to the specks of dirt. Not a single deviation. There is another type apparently, and it's basically a copy of a contested zone, but I'm totally fine reusing assets, but you have to change them a little bit. So my guess is throughout the Evo cycle, throughout the PTU cycle, they probably will create some variation with these, but yeah, layout the same, like literally everything is the same. If there was a gun on a rack, it is exactly the same. So, yeah, I don't know about that one, but that was a little bit disappointing. And then, yeah, the rest of the time, I kind of just toured some moons and checked some things out because, again, the content isn't really there. So checking out the pretty stuff, I figured is what people wanted to watch. Now, there is something that's interesting. PC 101 found this, and then I went and found a little bit of it, but not to the level that he did, was some rocks and minerals that are new in Pyro. So if you guys don't know PC 101, show him some love. You can head over to his channel. Links will be down in the description for him. But yeah, he found ricosite as a rock there. Don't know what that does. Don't know what it's going to be used for, but it does look like Pyro is setting up for that crafting stuff at some point. Now, as far as the NDA goes, it does bother me a little bit. I think Evo should be a testing build. I don't think it should be a content build. I found myself going to the pretty locations because I figured that's what people wanted to see, not because it was the best thing for testing. And yeah, so with that, I think we can go on to other updates. And as always, we start out with a sneak peek, and this is showing a keycard printer. It looks like now that you'll find these throughout Pyro, because this appears to be on a ground location at a moon. Now, I've seen them mostly in contested zones on stations. I've never seen this location specifically. They open security doors, which allows you to get deeper into stations and maybe other places to find better loot, hopefully. Again, I have not really seen the better loot in the 4.0 builds yet. Then moving on to dev posts, we got an AI Crewe and AI Blades update from Richard Tyrer. He came to notify players that AI Blades would be a part of the 1.0 plan, but potentially, and I think most likely, AI Crewe would not make it. I am not one to support solo players, right? I think the game is a multiplayer game, and I think you get a lot more out of it when you play with other players. But when you talked about NPC Crewe for 10 plus years, I understand that this has got to be a really tough pill to swallow. I do hope that they kind of make some changes around this. I think multi-crew ships should be multi-crew. I never liked the idea of NPC Crewe, but if you said you were going to do it, you kind of have to do it, right? People bought ships based on what you said, and we'll go into a little bit more on that in just a bit, right? The realization, though, that people are having that CIG didn't know what they were saying or what they were capable of for many, many years now, but, you know, everybody went out and defended them, is yeah, this one's tough. And this one affects some of their most loyal supporters, the ones who purchased one or more ships that they couldn't fly alone. The next post is from Bearded CIG, and he had questions of why do devs work on 4.0 when the next patch, when the current patch is in a really bad state. I think the reason's obvious, but he makes sure he takes the time to explain it to people that they can do both at the same time, and he goes through the process of how they do. And then we had the drama for the week. John Crewe headed over to Spectrum to let everyone know that last year's words about the Galaxy base building ship aspects meant nothing. And the community rioted, and I think rightfully so. So, people spent their money on a ship, like because of the features stated around it, right? That's wild to just do a 180 on that. So then he came back to apologize somewhat by letting the community know that some of his comments, specifically stating anything that they say just isn't, like if it's not in game, it's speculation. Yeah, that wasn't an okay comment to make and isn't acceptable at all, ever. I took the stance that they realized how bad they screwed up. So I said, okay, fine. I won't forget this. John Crewe knew this was going to happen months before, he made a CitizenCon presentation and said nothing. Why? They have to be better. The only way that we can hold them accountable is to do what was done around this mix-up. And that's go to the forums, tell them what you think. Make YouTube videos, tell them what you think. They have to be held to a higher standard, especially after talking kind of release of 1.0 at some point. Do it respectfully, though. And when you do it respectfully, you're not going to get banned on the forums. At least you shouldn't get banned on the forums. And they were very kind of quick to ban any criticism around this whatsoever, and I'm not sure why. This was a massive screw up. And should not, this is just not anything that's ever okay, right? We need to stay on top of them for these things. Then, Jump Point. The main article of the Jump Point is the Nix system. So if you want more information about what inspired the amazing reveal at CitizenCon and you're a sub, this issue might be for you, basically, right? And they also did a little Star Lancer and Castra talk. Lore post was about WinStar Racing. And yeah, just another repost about an in-lore amateur racing league. So if you're interested in checking that out, link is in the description. So a very short week this week. Nothing too crazy to talk about. A lot of focusing on trying to get live stable. Didn't work, but they're trying, right? They're putting out patches on the weekends to try to get 4.0 working. These guys are working hard. They're pushing towards the end of the year. And I got to say, I appreciate it. It's not really hitting super hard. Once you have the 1.0 discussion in your mind, it is a little tough to get back and play 324, right? So it's going to be an interesting couple of years here, I think, while you know what the game could be. Now you actually know, you're not even guessing, and you're playing the current experience. It's going to be a tough one. But I also just want to say, it looks like next week's going to be a little bit more exciting. It looks like we're going to get a roadmap update, maybe a monthly report. I don't think so, but it looks like we're going to have some patches, some things to discuss. I will go a little bit more into Save Stanton next week as well. I think I had a little bit of the CitizenCon post just exhaustion. I was waking up at 1 a.m. to do the live streams and stuff. So thank you guys for stopping by and everything. I do appreciate it. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it. So this is where I'll tell you to like the video, subscribe, and yeah, leave any comments on things that I discussed or I might have missed. So thank you so much for watching this week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for today.